I'm going to give you guys, the five of you that are here, an update on Sam Hanzac. Sam had surgery yesterday. So unfortunately, he's going to be up to 6 months out of our lineup. So everything went well, and we're expecting a full recovery, but unfortunate news for sure.
Was that surprising as you've gone through this, or was it leaning in that direction after the fact?
It was leaning that direction. I mean, the player has to make decisions along with our medical team as to what's the best route for a player to go. And I think with a young guy, you want to make sure you're doing things the right way. Yeah.
There's no way to make that be good news, but how can he use this extended period on the sideline to in a productive way?
The positive part about it is his rehab is going to be done here with our guys, and much the same as we've had before with Justin and Mantha. Our guys have their hands on them all the time. So to me, it's the best recovery that a player is going to be able to have. It's also a situation where you're not getting something done in the summertime, where you're going to miss length of time to start the next season. So this, for me, in an unfortunate situation, is the best path forward for him and for us.
What's the conversation like as a coach to, obviously that's devastating news for him, just what does that conversation look like between you and him?
Just text. I mean, really, that's all we've had since this happened. I saw him after the initial game, and he was pretty down, as you would expect at that time. But more about now is like, hey, now that this is done, you're going to be stronger and better than ever. So we'll look forward to getting you back and getting you working with our guys. And he seemed really upbeat about it as well. Tough for a player to digest when you're in the moment at the time, but I think when he took a little bit of time, realized it was the best thing for him as well.
He had the Olympics on his radar too, but does that speak to how far he's come in a short amount of time that he would be probably playing for Slovakia?
Yeah, maturity-wise, what's best for the player? I mean, what's best for the player, and at the end of the day, I think he thought about us as well, and not just him, which is something I'm pretty proud of him for.
And so maybe, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like it was something that he could have tried to kind of have it hanging around all season and then disrupted the summer?
Potentially. I mean, almost every injury, other than if you blow your knee out, there's you have the ability to rehab things. Not necessarily the right thing to do, and I think you always look at it based on the stage of a player's career too, as to what's the best thing to do for this player at this certain time, and what's the ideal thing for our team as well.
This might be too early to ask just specific to Sam, but kind of if you take a broad view of how a player who has a lot of momentum and then it comes to a sudden halt due to injury, how does that player need to make sure that it doesn't kind of halt the progress they've made?
Very good question. I think when you look at him, even from last year, he learned a lot when he came back from his concussion, that over the course of the summer, he realized that I had to do a lot to make myself bigger, stronger, so I can handle the players that are at the NHL level. I think he's in a different space now because of the maturity that I've seen change in him over the course of the year, where I think this is just going to catapult him to another level, because he's going to be bigger, stronger again when he comes back. His speed's not going to change, and I do really feel now that he 100% believes he's an NHL player. He knows the role that he's going to be playing. He knows how he has to play every night, so I think he's going to come back and be just fine once, of course, you get the rust off after the time off. Yeah.
Does that apply, would you say, to you too, Ryan? Like, do you know 100% he's an NHL player now?
I feel that way. I really do. The size and speed that he has is what every team wants, and I feel the exact same way for him and our team. So he's done a lot of great things. Now, it's always about coming back and proving your worth. There's no question about that. We expect him to push like he did this year for us when he got into our lineup. But I think he has the tools, and I think his maturity now has changed to the point where I do believe he's an NHL player.
Ryan, with a guy like Yan Kuznetsov, to spend as much time, now even playing in an NHL top four like he has, just how have you seen him settle into what he's been doing?
He has been really good for me. He's been consistent with his game. There was the one night in St. Louis where I thought he had an off night, like a really off night for a younger player. But it really hasn't happened again. And much like we talked about Sam, I think with him spending so much time in the minors and sort of understanding the messaging that we're trying to get across to him as to how we feel like he can be an everyday NHL player, he took it to heart. So he has a good understanding of what he has to be on a daily basis to have an impact for our team here with the Calgary Flames. And I talk about Sam's size and his skating ability. Well, Kuzi has that. And he's, I think he's added a lot to our back end since he's been here, not just because of those intangibles that he has or, the size and skating, but I think he's helping Mackenzie. I've talked about that before. I think he's been a real good partner for him. He does talk quite a bit on the ice with Mackenzie, and I think they're starting to build a little bit of chemistry together.
Was it important to go, like, he has the rough night against St. Louis, and then to put him right back in and keep him where he was? Was that an important kind of coaching move even for you?
Yes. Maybe because we like kind of what he brings into a top four role, I guess, something that we're looking for. Kevin Ball has done a really good job for us because he knows who he is, and he has some size that he can disrupt plays, he can get into people's way, he makes it hard for people to get to our net front. I look at Kuzi the same way, where he has that ability. So he hasn't looked out of place playing against top guys, and I think that's because of the time that the Wrangler staff has put in with him over the last number of years. They've done an excellent job of preparing him for what he was going to see at this level and what we expect him to be like at this level. So they've done a really good job with him.
Follow up just a little bit on that. Like, what goes into that decision? Because if a young player has a bad game, you can pull them out of the lineup, obviously, and give them a rest. But you didn't do that. Like, what was it about him that made you think, okay, let's give him a little bit of a leash?
Well, the prior couple of games, he was very good. So I didn't think it would be the right decision to take him out. And he rewarded us with a good effort the next night. So, and he's honestly is. The challenge when things go well is you don't really read the press clippings about yourself because that's dangerous. And if you have a poor night, you don't read them again because that's dangerous as well. And I think he's done a good job of handling that and not riding an emotional wave. He knows who he is. He knows how he has to play every night. So that's our expectation, is that he'll continue to do that for us.
Not getting too high or too low. Devin Cooley had a quote about how when he's playing well. Did you know he says that to himself?
No. I did not know. I when I hear things like that, I just think goalie. So
You don't think that would work for a forward or defenseman?
not sure. Coach, probably not.
Devin has played so well when you guys have relied on him this year. And I mean, I don't think his training camp and preseason wasn't spectacular. When did you sort of see, okay, he's at the level we need him to be?
What he did in Utah. Like, you come in that situation, have a game like he had there, I think it cranks up the belief that his teammates have in him, but it's also everybody else around. You see, yeah, this guy can do the job. We saw him do it for half of the year in the American League. He was the best player in the American League. And now I think the work that he and Jason have put in together at the early stages of the year have made him ready for the starts that he's getting and going to be getting. So they've done a lot of good work together, those two, and I'm happy to see where he's at right now.
Ryan, I know you've been asked about what John Beecher can bring and what sticks out about the package, but we talked so much about kind of change of scenery candidates. Oh, this guy just needs a change of scenery. What does a player need to do post change of scenery to kind of take advantage of that?
I don't know if it's necessarily what he has to do on the ice physically. I think it's more mentally. There's a lot of situations where you'll see a high pick on a certain team just not pan out the way everybody had hoped. They go somewhere else. It's like a new lease on life, and they realize that, well, maybe I'm not the offensive guy that I thought I was going to be at this level, and I have to change my game a little bit to have impact every night. I think that's what it's about. So it's more of the mental side and wrapping your head around, okay, in order for me to have impact on a daily basis, there's a certain style that I have to play consistently. And sometimes when guys move from their first team, whether it's a wake-up call or it's just, oh my God, like, it isn't coming easy. I might have to figure out what's going to allow me to be an NHL player long term. I think you see that when young guys move on and they get a chance somewhere else.
How challenging, can I just ask, just coming back for one game between a road trip and then a much longer road trip, what's the challenge in that?
I think we're treating it like it's still a road trip. And that's try to keep the guys in that mindset that we have a stop here in Calgary and then we're going to carry on to Vancouver after that. So it's funny. Sometimes you go through stretches in your schedule like this, but every team deals with it, and we make sure that we're going to be at our best tomorrow night.